These guns have not moved in 79 years, yet they still point into the darkness of the Pacific, frozen in the moment the ship died. 5,000 meters below, the wreck of USS Indianapolis lies broken in two, a silent witness to one of the most tragic nights in American naval history. Tonight, we descend to meet the ship that delivered a secret capable of ending a war and paid the ultimate price on its way home. At 5,500 meters beneath the central Pacific, where sunlight has never reached and sound travels like a memory fading into darkness, lies the shattered remains of a ship that carried one of the most consequential secrets of World War II. Once a proud heavy cruiser of the United States Navy, the USS Indianapolis now rests in a silent graveyard of steel and sediment, its story etched not in stone, but in the twisted, corroded hull that endured one of the most tragic endings in American naval history. Tonight, we descend into that darkness, guided only by ROV lights and the echoes of a mission that shaped the end of the war. The USS Indianapolis CA-35 was a Portland-class heavy cruiser, laid down in 1930, launched in 1931, and commissioned in 1932 at Camden, New Jersey. At 610 feet long and armed with 9 8-inch guns, she was designed as a fast, hard-hitting flagship capable of leading task forces across the vast ocean expanse. Her service through the Pacific War was relentless, supporting landings, escorting carriers, and striking enemy positions with precision and speed. By mid-1945, command of Indianapolis rested with Captain Charles Butler McVeigh III, a seasoned officer respected for his calm leadership and deep operational experience. Under his authority, the cruiser was assigned one of the most secret missions of the entire war: deliver essential components including the uranium core for the atomic bomb Little Boy. No escort, no publicity, and no margin for error. On the 26th of July 1945, the ship successfully completed the delivery at Tinian. Her mission was a success, but the return voyage toward Leyte placed her on a lonely route through shark-infested waters, with minimal intelligence updates and no guarantee of air cover. Shortly after midnight on July 30, the Japanese submarine 158, commanded by CDR Mochitsura Hashimoto, detected the cruiser's silhouette. 2 Type 95 torpedoes tore through the starboard side. The first detonated near the bow. The second struck closer to midships, triggering catastrophic flooding. The USS Indianapolis sank in just 12 minutes. Of the 1,196 crew members aboard, around 900 initially survived the sinking. Only 316 would live to tell the story after nearly 5 days of dehydration, exposure, and predatory attacks. For decades, the wreck remained missing. In 2017, its resting place was finally discovered on the abyssal plain. Our ROV begins its slow descent into the endless blue void of the Philippine Sea. The surface light disappears within minutes, replaced by a weight of darkness, so complete it feels almost physical. At 2,000 meters, the temperature drops sharply. By 4,000 meters, silt drifts like ancient snow. Pressure here exceeds 8,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush any human vessel from the era above. Then, at nearly 5,500 meters, a faint geometric shape emerges. The ROV lights sweep across a fractured ridge of metal. The bow of the USS Indianapolis, torn cleanly from the rest of the ship, rises from the sediment like a monument frozen at the moment of impact. Rusticles hang like iron icicles. Everything around it is quiet, still, untouched for more than 7 decades. As we drift closer, the scale becomes overwhelming. The bow section rests upright, its plating curled inward by the torpedo blast. Gaping seams expose inner decks that collapsed instantly when the water rushed in. This is where many never had a chance to escape. We move along the seabed toward the main hull, lying several hundred meters away. The ship's broken spine forms a path of debris, twisted beams, scattered fittings, fragments of what were once proud gun platforms. Each piece is a timestamp from 014 on the 30th of July 1945. The ROV slows as the shadow of the main hull envelops the frame. This is no longer a ship, it is a silent cathedral of steel, resting on its starboard side. Its massive form dominates the darkness, waiting for our lights to reveal what the ocean has preserved. As the ROV approaches the central superstructure, the first unmistakable features come into view. The 8-inch gun turrets, once symbols of American naval might, sit motionless, their barrels elevated as if still searching for an enemy on the horizon. Marine growth softens their edges, but the shape, the intent, remains unmistakable. Power brought to silence. The camera glides past the collapsed bridge area. The upper decks crumbled inward as the ship settled onto the seabed, leaving behind a maze of beams, torn plating, and dark openings leading into compartments forever sealed by pressure. Here, decisions were made that shaped the course of the Pacific War. Now, only cold seawater flows through what was once the nerve center of the cruiser. Farther aft, a section of hull reveals faint lettering beneath layers of corrosion, remnants of the ship's name, Indianapolis, still clinging to the steel. The letters, though incomplete, are unmistakable. It is a haunting sight, the identity of the vessel emerging from decay, as if refusing to be forgotten. Near the stern, the ROV illuminates the remnants of the aircraft catapult and crane assembly. The scout planes once launched from here to spot enemy warships. Now the frames are collapsed, partially embedded in sediment, yet still recognizable. Inside the superstructure, our lights capture a glimpse of twisted ladders, buckled bulkheads, and empty corridors. No human remains appear, only the architecture of a tragedy. Through these narrow openings, we imagine the frantic minutes after the torpedoes struck. Compartments flooding, lights failing, men rushing topside in shock and confusion. The wreck tells us more than records alone ever could. The angle of the hull, the pattern of damage, the collapse of internal decks all confirm the rapid sinking described by survivors. There was simply too little time. The ocean's violence was immediate, and yet the wreck offers not horror, but solemnity. Every collapsed room, every silent turret, every rust-coated beam speaks of the 879 men who never returned. The debris is not debris, it is testimony. As the ROV steadies near the stern, the camera lingers on the rudder and propellers, now immobile, but once capable of driving the cruiser at over 32 knots. For a moment, it is easy to imagine the ship alive again, cutting through Pacific waves under full power. But only for a moment. The sea reclaims the vision, swallowing it back into the deep. The USS Indianapolis remains one of the most powerful reminders of the cost of war, not just in strategy or technology, but in human lives. Captain Charles B. McVeigh III, long burdened by blame for the tragedy, was formally exonerated in 2000, decades after survivors fought for his name to be cleared. His story, like the ship's, is one of duty, sacrifice, and the heavy weight of history. As our ROV pulls away, the wreck fades once more into darkness. The guns, the torn steel, the broken bow, all return to silence, yet their message endures. On this remote seabed, far from any shore, the USS Indianapolis continues to stand watch, a monument not built by human hands, but shaped by the ocean itself, a reminder that the deep never forgets.